Hey there, what's going on, folks? It's Doug Cunnington here, and we're going to talk about affiliate marketing today. Maybe finding your niche, maybe about the Amazon affiliate program specifically, and we will definitely answer questions. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. That'll be wonderful. I should be hearing myself here in a second. There's a bit of a delay. We have apparently a good crowd right now, so there should be a lot of folks talking. Give me a shout, say hello. If it's your first time here, let me know that. Would love to hear about it. Today here near the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, it's a little chilly. It's reminded me of weather in Bozeman, which is pretty cold. It's actually really cold there right now, but here it's so much warmer. I mean, even though it is 19 degrees, there's a little gentle flurry of snow coming down. It's really not too bad if you bundle up. So people can hear me. We got Alp, Mediocre, Edward, Slow Bondin, Dan, and David. Thank you for letting me know. And it's going to be a pretty fun, well, hopefully it'll be a fun live stream today. And I'll be honest with you, it's been an interesting week. On Tuesday, we'll skip Monday. We'll just skip Monday. Tuesday, I got a lot of good stuff done. I sort of shut off my inbox, which is kind of growing out of control. There's a lot of messages in there right now. And I wrote a script for a new YouTube video that I have been thinking about and sort of formulating. And then I recorded it yesterday too. So I wrote, I think it was roughly, how many words was it? It must have been 1,500, 2,000 words in that range. Ran through an edit and then shot the video all yesterday. So that was very nice to do. It's pretty cool to start a thing and then finish it in the same day. The reason why it felt so rewarding yesterday is I've been working on long-term migrations from Aweber to Kajabi and doing things that kind of take a long time. It takes a lot of thought and preparation before you do anything. You have to think about it before you start doing it, and then you have to double check things. So it's a really long process. You don't finish it. You're always in the middle of it. You always feel like you got a couple more things to do before you can move to the next step. But yesterday I wrote the script, shot it, and then I just moved on. It was fantastic. Probably will be able to publish that video next week, most likely. My editor is really fast. You may even get it done before that. We also have Always Maxon, Saeed, Jacob, and let's see here, Alexander and Steady Aid. And Slow Bo Dan. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name, and it's definitely not your fault. But if you want to write it phonetically, I'll be able to do a better job with it. So a couple things. Today, I know, like I mentioned, we have a few different topics that I'm going to cover. We can dig into finding a niche. I covered that last week in a specific way, and there's some other areas that we'll be able to dive into. We're going to take a look at Google Trends. Additionally, I was emailing with Alchemy Coder, one of my buddies, one of the founders over at Amalinks Pro. And they have some interesting new data out there. I'm going to share some information they published in the last couple weeks, and I'm curious what your take is on it. I actually invited them over at Amalinks Pro to join me in a conversation, a bit of a debate. So I won't spill the beans on everything, but I will share the information they presented, and I'll kind of keep my opinions to myself in certain areas, just so if I do have them on for a sort of debate or more of a healthy adult discussion on a topic, then I'm not giving away all my positions and I'm not shaping your opinion before, maybe because I told them what I thought, and maybe they'll be able to change it and I won't have any major disagreements or anything like that. So Zolquanon, what's up? Adrian, good to see you. Really appreciate the help from David and Adrian. So give a shout to those guys over in the chat. Very helpful, very helpful. So anyway, I'll share some of that stuff. And part of the information that Alchemy Coder sent over to me, it was related to Google Trends, and that got me thinking, hey, that's interesting. We can look at that, and it's also directly related to, of course, looking for a niche, because you can see the trend lines, and is something getting popular? Is it less popular? Sometimes it doesn't really matter. It really just gives you the broad strokes, but it's interesting to know, and it can give you more confidence, whether it's warranted or not, but it can give you more confidence in approaching a certain thing. So if you have questions, you can leave them in the chat. I usually hold the questions towards the end of the discussion just to make it a little easier, but I look over there occasionally and I'll throw them in. So much appreciated, everybody joining me live here. I want to give a shout out to myself and my blog, Niche Site Project. If you're not on the email list, please do sign up for the email list. You can just go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email address, and I'll send you all my templates and good stuff. I recently revamped my email list. So at one point I had something like 40 emails in there. I trimmed it down to more like 30, still too much. I was migrating to Kajabi, as I alluded to before. And I thought, well, now's a good time to go ahead and just strip the thing down. I'm only going to keep the very best fucking emails, and I'm just going to get rid of the others for now. I have the data, so I know some other emails that I could send in the future that did okay. But one thing I realized is I was just sending around these older case studies, and people are not as interested in those at all. So I migrated over to Kajabi. Things seem to be going fine. One thing I need you to do, and everyone listen up out there, if you're not on the email list, go sign up and you should be good to go. Thank you very much for doing that. If you are on the email list already, emails are coming from a different email server and a different email account. It's highly likely you are receiving my emails, and if you use Gmail or another big app, it could be going to the promotions tab or a similar tab instead of the primary tab. I send a few emails per week, so if the promotions tab is the right place for you, however you want to manage your email, I can respect that. If you want to see my emails and not have them go to spam, you may need to drag my email over to the primary tab to make sure that your email provider, your email service is putting them in the right place. It's just one of those things that happens, and I can't control the spam filters, but new people joining up should be in better shape just in general. When you signed up for the email list, I try to advise you to move the emails over so you get them. Otherwise, they just end up in like a bottomless pit over there and you don't even know. The Mature Man, what's up? I'm lurking, so I'm not really here. You're there, buddy. You're there. And then we have Wilco. We got S. Sater. Art Kid, what's going on? M. Bomber. Very cool. And always Maxon. So what I'll do, I'm gonna play some clips today too. So that'll help out. I do realize I didn't finish my thought before about this week. So yesterday, great stuff done. I worked on something that was finished yesterday. I started it and finished it yesterday. Felt good. Today, woke up after a great night of sleep. It's a little chilly, a little cool. It's a gray day out there. Typically, Colorado, it's sunny, blue skies, but it's a little gray today. And I just wasn't in the mood to work. I was like, what's going on? I just want to take a little break here and just chill out. But eventually I got into the swing of things a little more, but it was definitely a day where I kind of wanted to just sit around, maybe read. And I indulged that for a little while and then eventually got my motivation back, which is good. My energy level is higher now than it was because it was much lower. Talking to all the good people here certainly helps quite a bit. All right, let's look at some of the stuff that I said I was going to talk about today. So I say I'm going to answer questions, I'm going to play some clips, and I'm going to chat with the crew. So I haven't played clips yet, haven't answered any questions. I will give, I see a question that came up, so I'll take a look at that in a bit. Always Maxon for sure. Ayesh. Ashish says, you got my first earnings using the KGR method. Fantastic. Always good to hear that. Very cool. Congratulations. Mature Man says there's an ice storm in Kentucky. That's gross. Yeah, I don't like those ice storms. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give a couple shout outs. Look in the description. All right. I was on a podcast called 99 Hustles. You should check it out. It's over on Spotify and iTunes. Nick and Fez did a great job interviewing me. We talked about some cool stuff, and they have a great podcast. So I recommend you check it out. There's links in the description there. I'm also going to give a shout out to a sponsor. So I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. Ezoic and their Site Speed Accelerator. I really appreciate them sponsoring me. I've been working with them for over a year now. So it's been a good relationship. In fact, they invited me to speak at a conference that they jointly host with Google. And then they canceled the conference because of COVID and everything. So I didn't get to speak there. But their Site Speed Accelerator is great if you want to speed up your site. There's a 7-day free trial, and they guarantee an 80 or higher on the Google Page Speed Insight score. So there's no reason not to give it a shot. And a tip is use the DNS integration. Don't use the WordPress plugin. It'll be faster and better if you use the DNS integration. And again, there's no reason not to give it a shot with a 7-day free trial. Thank you to Ezoic. Okay, so one thing I want to show you here is the post that Amalinks Pro published recently. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to get rid of these pop-ups before I share it. And there's a link in the description to this post, so you can go check it out. All right. And again, this is the thing where I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll do a little bit of a debate with them. I'll give them a shout to see if they want to join me. So that'll be good. So I'm not going to color this too much with my opinions. So I can share now, and it works. Great. It's great when it works. So essentially, the executive summary for this is affiliate marketing is growing in interest. That's the whole punchline to this. They mention it is like a 60-minute read. It's very long, and not giving my opinion on this specific article or what is covered here. The information is great, by the way, but one gripe that I had just from my asshole perspective that I have, apparently, they sent over the information. They were like, hey man, take a look at it. It's pretty long. And I was like, God damn it. Give me the 3-sentence summary, guys. Like, I don't want to read the whole fucking thing here. Just send me the thing, Executive summary. Like, don't send me an email where I have to read for 1 hour, because I'm not going to read it. Turns out I'm a very fast skimmer, and there's a lot of pictures in here. So I was able to scroll down really fast, and I got the idea. The punchline is affiliate marketing is growing, and Amazon affiliate marketing is very popular as well. So that's the main summary. There's charts and graphs, trend lines, other things to make you feel good about the information in here, which is really well put together. All right, it's really well formatted, put together, and all that stuff. Link in the description if you want to check it out. So I wanted them to send me an executive summary, call it laziness, call it, I'm not sure what, maybe I feel entitled for the years that I wasn't an executive, but I was in middle management. So that was enough for me to develop these. And basically, if you send something to someone and you want them to read it, just, don't make it too hard. Don't make it too hard unless you have a specific reason. And I know those dudes, so they could have sent it in a different way. So now that I've finished busting their balls, There's a tidal wave of new affiliates in 2021. And here's what I wanted to show you, and it'll take us over to Google Trends, which is the point, and that is kind of what we were talking about before with finding your niche. There's other ways to do it besides what we covered last week. So the unfortunate part, which I let these dudes know, these are like embedded charts, and they unfortunately they don't load. So I also told them that they just sent it over, and it's what I was thinking about a minute ago. So we have Google Trends, and fuck. All right, they crashed my pages here. So all right, so we're gonna exit those pages. Hopefully. Oh, that's sad, isn't it? Oh man, what is going on? So it's live, and I'm in a playful mood today apparently. So, all right, let's kill these tabs. Let's come back just to video here. Let me pull up the right thing. Sorry everyone. It's live TV. This is why it's exciting. It's why you're watching. All right, now I could share again. So we're here on Google Trends, and you can get an idea of what's going on. And the trends here. And I have been talking for a second. We got Music Money School. What's up, Charlie? Thanks for the compliment there. Yes, you can ask questions, and I will come back to it in a second. Josh mentions something about alchemy coder, so that's funny. Yeah, we're good. He emailed me and I chatted back, so we're in good shape. So okay, so here's what you could do, and I will show you some of the stuff that they were demonstrating that is not actually loading over on their pages. Links Pro. Again, there's links in the description so you can check that stuff out. So affiliate marketing. So what's the interest level here? Pretty good. Over the last 12 months, it's actually pretty darn high, but it does become a little more interesting when you look back at the last 5 years. So that is much higher. And when you look when I was, kind of not just getting started, because we're talking 2016, but I was in for a couple of years there. As I was hitting my stride, affiliate marketing had some ups and downs, but it's been roughly kind of even here overall. However, in the last, from basically December on, people are really searching hard for affiliate marketing, which is interesting because I maybe would have thought that it could have kicked off like when the pandemic hit. So we do see a downward trend here, and I can zoom in just a little bit. We do see a little bit of a downward trend here. So we have March 1st, 2020, and a little bit of a dip, and then everyone ended up getting stuck at home. This is just US based, by the way. And then that's at a 70%, and up here it's at 100%. So these are all like relative numbers. There's no specific search volume or quantity associated with this. So this is just in a general sense, the relative numbers. If we zoom back out just a touch here, or almost all the way, and we look at worldwide, we'll probably see an even steeper graph. I was wrong. Okay. It's a gentler graph, but at this point in time, it's still very popular. So this is just affiliate marketing. Let's go back to the US, since we're, of course, self-centered and only think about ourselves. So past 5 years. So, okay, affiliate marketing, good. Let's compare it now to Amazon affiliate program, which is one of the terms. We're obviously diving into specificity here. That's one of the terms that Links Pro outlined on their coverage here. So when we see this, I honestly thought the red line would be flat and gone completely, just no details. I thought the scale would be blown out of proportion, but it actually holds up a little bit here, which is kind of cool to see. So this, again, is over the last 5 years. If we were to zoom out from 2004 till present, you can see something more dramatic. So it is much lower for a long time, and then it's at an all-time high basically right now. I would make the argument that who really cares about the data from that long ago? That's a pretty long time ago. Even 5 years ago isn't super duper helpful, but I think it gives us an overall trend. So that is good. Now let's get rid of the affiliate marketing and just look at the Amazon affiliate program. And this is fairly interesting too, since again, when I was getting traction in this area in 2015, 2016, it was fairly low interest. And then it's more and more interest over the past 6 months, 8 months or so. And here we can see it's hard to hold the mouse still, but in the middle of June, the first part of June, there was some huge spike in the interest, and I'm not sure why that is exactly. So this is an area that AmaLinks Pro is saying, hey, there's a huge amount of interest. If you get in now, you potentially can take advantage of this rise. Like, people are really trying to get involved, and at some point maybe it'll be more saturated or something. All right, so you can take a look at that. But if we go back out, you can do some searching for different things, and they'll show you examples here. So let's look at some of the examples just to see what they have. They have Fortnite, okay. We had pho, right? It's pho, ramen, and soba, okay. And then cupcakes. Oh, cupcake, huh. So these aren't great examples. But let's say I'm looking at, we'll go to my classic example since I'm not original. We'll say mirrorless camera. And the thing is, with these trends, they have to have enough data to show trend information. So if you go too specific, then you may not get any information at all. It may just say not enough data, blah, blah, blah. And so we have mirrorless camera, and they actually are listing specific systems and different sort of things. Now let's compare it to, say, 35 millimeter camera. And then, interestingly enough, it didn't drop off for the 35 millimeter camera. So people are still interested in the old school cameras. We'll go back for 5 years. And actually, mirrorless, they've had some ups and downs, and I suspect it's related to the holiday and retail season, which does seem to hold up. So you can look here and get some kind of ideas. It may not be something where you should make your decision on a niche, but if you are equally interested in two different things, then maybe you can see one is growing and one is not so much. Not necessarily, but the thing is, mirrorless cameras is a big enough industry where you can probably move forward with it. It's going to be fine. You hopefully have some keywords to lean on and make a move from there. 35 millimeter cameras may seem like a dying industry, but I can tell you, in an odd way, people are still interested in 35 millimeter cameras and older technology, sometimes manual focus lenses, manual cameras in general. And sometimes people use these manual lenses on newer cameras too. So the glass is still good. The reason why I'm bringing this up is maybe you don't have something where they're manufacturing new 35 millimeter cameras. However, you may be able to have content that people are interested in, that they're looking for that information. And you may not be able to sell a new 35 millimeter camera, but you may be able to refer them to KEH camera, or I mean, you could fill in the blank. There's a lot of these. It doesn't have to be camera specific, but you can refer people to a vendor that sells that stuff, or to eBay where they sell everything. Additionally, you may just want to have a YouTube channel, right? There are YouTube channels where they only talk about things that they don't even make new anymore. It's weird, and I started seeing these videos for these older school cameras, and basically there's whole channels where they just have old shit and they talk about it, and they do reviews on old cameras and old lenses that are like 20, 30, 40 years old. It's kind of crazy, but it's interesting that it's out there and there's a market for it. So the example I was going to give before, we'll just say mirrorless camera. Let's see if we can do, we'll just put YouTube in and see if it can work with that, or if it's too obscure. Yeah, that was a little too obscure. It still gives us data, but let's rip out this other piece. So not super helpful. Mirrorless camera, and we'll see if we put in for YouTube. Is that better? That's super helpful. And how about just camera for YouTube? A little better. Okay. So, and again, we don't have a real search volume or quantifiable number based on this. But if you went to your keyword research tool and you search for camera for YouTube, you could make some assumptions, which would be wrong if you were trying to be exact, but if you're just trying to get the trend direction, it would be fine. If we zoom out, that would be a little too much since YouTube didn't start until the 2007-ish there. You can see overall things are growing. Now, we can compare it to, we'll just say podcasting. And this is just a general trend line. So now we see podcasting jumped right in 2005 once it got popular, and then it's dwindled down, which is interesting. Now again, when you have these spikes that are much larger, it skews the graph. So if we just look at the last 5 years, we'll probably see something a little more even, and those are a little closer together. It looks like there's a little more interest in camera for YouTube than podcasting in general. So if we just change it to podcast, and then we'll move on, we'll answer some questions after this. Okay, so now we just have podcast and then camera for YouTube. And again, here now we have the scales all screwed up on us again here. So let's answer some questions in a second. Actually, I need to cough. Wow, that got my attention there. Actually, I think we have a couple clips that I can play. I had a very popular, got a cough again. I had a very popular guest a few weeks ago named Gaurav, and he reached $10,000 per month in less than a year. He just started with affiliate marketing in, I think, April of 2020. He worked really hard. He actually invested a lot of capital. He had a background in building teams and hiring people. Really smart dude. I'm going to play a quick clip from that so I can catch my breath here. And then we'll answer some questions when I get back, I promise. So let me find this clip for everyone here. Only takes a second. Probably only takes a second. Okay, here we go. Here's Gaurav.
And the December month, the last month, was the best month ever, and crossed a milestone. When last we had met, I was running a single site. Now I have a portfolio of 8 sites, and the entire portfolio crossed $10,000 of revenue. And that was it. And it's kind of grown for the last few months. Some of it was a little bit of a carryover from the Black Friday weekend, which was in the last week of November. But yeah, I'm happy that that we achieved that milestone. And this month as well, despite some of the sites being hit by the Google update, we are on track to come pretty close to that number. So yeah, the duck seems to be in the way.
Congrats. That's one of those milestones people really want to make 10K per month. And the fact that you hit it so quickly is very amazing. Now, we were chatting beforehand, but I want to make sure people understand the breakdown of the earnings and the fact that you have a portfolio of sites. And people may be thinking, hey, 8 sites, I don't want to have that many sites. So what's the breakdown of the revenue across your portfolio?
Okay, so the top 2 sites are contributing to most of the revenue. I would say a little over 80%, closer to 85%. Is what the top 2 are contributing. Those are the 2 that I focus the most time, energy, effort, and money on. And the others are kind of there because I was on an acquisition spree, so to speak, and there were good opportunities that came along. So I'm keeping them as a backup. I kind of put content on them as and when I can. But the top 2, which contribute to 85% of the revenue, remain biggest focus.
Got it. And as far as the revenue breakdown from the sources, where are you earning money? I know a lot of people really still focus on Amazon just because it's such a big market. It converts really well. But, people are looking to diversify. So, yeah, where are you earning money from?
So all of this revenue, 100% of this has come from Amazon last month. I am looking to diversify. I haven't yet been successful in running ads on the site because I got them started, and then there was a problem of extra clicks where my account got blocked. So I'm still waiting out that block period to get them started again. The biggest site is knocking on the doors of Mediavine numbers. So I'm torn between going with Ezoic or going directly with Mediavine because it's probably a month or 2 away at least. So to answer your question, yes, it's entirely Amazon right now. But if I were to project 6 months out, I would be projecting it to be not more than 50% Amazon. So I have a few things that I've been working on that have taken longer to materialize. And I mentioned or alluded to them in our last discussion, which was around lead generation. But they are coming online. So I expect that Amazon would be about 50% and then 50% of the other sources.
Amazing. Yeah. Once you diversify that. All right. And that was Gaurav, and I've got my voice back here. You can check out the full interview. If you go to my channel and search for Gaurav, you should be able to find it. I talked to him twice, so you can hear from him after a few months. And then the latest interview is just from a few weeks ago. So you should definitely check it out. Let's hit some questions now. And this is sponsored by Niche Website Builders. You can get 10% more content if you use my coupon code. And I have a 20,000 word order that I have each month with them. So thanks for sponsoring. And there's a link in the description so you can check them out. They have a little chat thing in there so you can ask them questions if you have any. And this is a Q&A segment. They sponsor the Q&A segment. Always Maxon says, what are the things to take into consideration to maximize conversions? I sent you a link in the chat there so you can read a little bit more. A couple things. One, if you're not taking advantage of your international traffic, you should. Amazon makes it pretty easy now. I personally use Genius Link to do the geo-targeting, but most of the plugins do that. So Lasso, Amalinks Pro, AWP, pick your poison, they'll do it. You just have to set it up and configure it. It's no big deal. One of the big things is to have the right traffic on your site. So you are hopefully targeting keywords where someone probably wants to make a purchase in the near future. If you're getting traffic where people don't want to buy anything or they don't really care, then you're probably not going to make any conversions. So if you get the right traffic, you don't have to push too hard. I typically had really good conversion rates on my sites, and it was really just because I had the right kind of traffic on there. I didn't have any kind of super fancy like A/B testing and all that kind of stuff. I generally don't enjoy doing that kind of work, number one. And then number two, if you get things most of the way right for most things, most of the time, you're probably going to be okay. Sure, if you are looking to squeeze every last dime and maximize your conversions, which is literally what your question is, then you should do A/B testing and go into the deep end. I was not interested in that. There are companies that can do it for you, and generally, like there's several things that you can do where if you do that, you should be fine. So I'll just list out a couple. Call to action early. Don't bury it. One of the biggest issues that I see, people have their first affiliate link and their first call to action more than 50% down the article. A lot of people are not going to get that far. Put it in the intro. You could say something like, here's my favorite option for this kind of user or this kind of application. Here's why. It can be one sentence long. It should be simple. Go take a look at Wirecutter. They tell you, or they show you exactly what they do. So if you look at Wirecutter, you'll see exactly how to put one of those calls to action. Images, you probably will have images on your site. Technically, if you're using it from Amazon, you have to link to Amazon there. So keep that in mind. However, a lot of people might not know that that image is going to take them to Amazon. So I like to put a caption that says, click the image to get more information on Amazon or wherever they're going to go. Tables are really good. Some people really love tables, and you can put concise information into a small space without writing it in a narrative form. That's really good. I ran into some information, although I just saw the headline. I got to be honest with you. I didn't read it, but it suggested that tables didn't help conversions at all, which is contrary to all the information that I've seen. And the problem with case studies, everybody, especially, I publish case studies too, and all you're looking at is one example. But the thing is, when I'm doing these case studies, I'm usually not selling anything specific. When you see case studies actually they all do it. So I'll just say affiliate related plugins, all right? So I won't mention anyone specifically, but they all have case studies, and sometimes they contradict each other. Sometimes they all say, hey, tables are great, use buttons, all this other stuff. But when you're getting the case study from the people that are trying to sell you the thing that they're selling, like that's all they do is sell the plugin, like you got to look at other data. You can't trust the one case study there that they put into their sales letter. And again, I will tell you, I put information like that in my videos. I put it in my email newsletter, and I write it on my blog too. So I am not above this. It is a thing you have to do, but look at other information. I'm telling you to look at other information. Hopefully that I'm like one rung above just pretending like everything I say is true. Verify my information elsewhere. So, okay. What was the question? Considerations, maximize conversions. Go check out the link. You probably got most of it right. I think it's kind of boring to do the optimization like that. So I'm just not into it. Some people love it. And as we're scrolling down, we'll answer some other questions. Thanks for the question, always Maxon. And Charlie says, is it okay to drop a question and leave? So yeah, it sure is. I hope you have other questions besides that one, but yeah, you could totally do that. And Josh insightfully says, I wonder if the streaming is the cause for the images not loading. And the answer is no. It crashed earlier too. I tested it earlier, and I let Alchemy Coder know. I let him know, like, hey man, it's not loading for me. I have fiber to my house. I have a pretty fast computer. It should probably load. Thane's on. What's up? Good to see you. Okay. Music Money School says, buy the KGR stuff, works as F, and I'm sending from YouTube to my post. It ranks hella fast, super fast. Awesome. Good to hear. It's good to hear stuff about KGR. All right. All About Gaming says, my site is generating $370 per month from Amazon. I want to sell it. And I think some people answered, it depends. And Adrian says it's probably about 24 to 38x the monthly multiple. So if we do some quick math or do some rounding, so 4 times 3, 370. So like $12,000. Is that right? 400 times 30. Is that right? Am I doing that right? Is there an extra zero in there? So yeah, 30x monthly multiple for the profit. It does depend on some of the other factors there, especially like how old your site is. Next, Cindy says, okay, there's a nice thread here. Cindy says, I started writing some articles in the photography niche, but I didn't have the experience, so I gave up. I couldn't share info I wasn't knowledgeable about, and photography needs a lot of experience. There's technical articles out there, and I noticed there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're into cameras and stuff, which I am, I haven't shown off some of my newer. I need to do like, here's all my camera shit. I have a lot of stuff these days, and I'm getting some camera equipment that's not even good for like YouTube stuff like this, but it's really fun. So basically, once you get into something deep enough, if you read information from people that are not informed, it's really clear, and experts will probably bounce. That said, there are more people that are not experts in photography and don't really know much. So there's actually a lot more to write for beginner and non-advanced levels. So it's one of those interesting things. So Charlie has also a thread. Holy shit. All right. We'll give it a shot. And don't forget, Niche Website Builder sponsored this segment here. So that's pretty fun. All right. Let's help Charlie out here. So let's see. Let's see what we got. I have a site in the men's lifestyle niche with 10 to 12 articles. It's not well optimized, but it's ranking in the top 100. I haven't really touched or added content since 2015. The domain name is nice, broad, and brandable. Getting back into building sites, so I figure I would redo the articles and start building this one out. Maybe there's some age domain benefit, okay? But I only ever got around to posting those initial 10 to 12 listicle articles that are about 800 to 1,500 words. Okay. Should I continue to build this out with a broad category similar to what I mentioned, or pivot and go with a tighter focus, starting with a completely new site? So it's broad, brandable, and it's in the men's lifestyle. So are you into the men's lifestyle topics? If so, if you're into that stuff, then there's an argument to stick with it. There may be a very small benefit since your domain has some age on it, but honestly, if those articles weren't really ranking well, and you haven't really done that much, it's almost like you're starting the Sandbox from scratch. It might be a little shorter. You might be able to publish some content that will rank quickly, it really varies. I've seen examples where people go back to a site like yours and they publish 50 articles in a short amount of time and it pops and it's like it got gasoline poured on the fire, right? All that said, let's say you do like the niche, you have some topic areas that you're interested in. I recommend that you do focus on a specific area and some specific topics and products initially. And it doesn't even have to be an affiliate-based set of articles, but if you want to do products, then overall focusing on a topic area or two so that you can get traction more quickly, that is a good idea. You can expand it into more broader lifestyle topics, and that will be fine as well. Okay. So hopefully that helps. William says, if starting from scratch, would buying an inexpensive age domain or a small site accelerate the process of getting ranked? Potentially. So I would say an age domain probably won't help. If you just have an old domain, you should just talk to, if you want an old domain, talk to Charlie. He has one from 2015. In fact, actually, I'll put the call out for people. I have a site from, actually, it's fairly old at this point in time. It has some backlinks. It has quite a lot of content, and I haven't touched it in about 3 to 4 years. Content is out of date. Content needs to be updated, but there is a lot of content, and it used to rank really well for certain terms. And I have thought about going back to it. And then as time has gone on, I realized I don't give a shit. And I probably should just sell it and move on. It is a sunk cost, as I talk about all the time. It's a sunk cost, and it's literally costing me more just hanging on to it. So I guess it's just one site like that currently. But if you're interested in such a site, shoot me an email, doug@nichesiteproject.com, and let me know. And I can give you a little more info about it. I think there's like 200 some odd articles, a couple 100,000 words of content. I think some of the links that it had in the past have dropped off, but in general, it is in great shape. So the question from William, though, is inexpensive age domain or a small site, will that help it get ranked? Age domain, probably not. If it has backlinks, it might go a little faster. If you buy an existing site that gets traffic, then yes, it will accelerate the process 100%. It's like if you could find a blog that is under monetized or neglected, like I said, I'm in a position where I don't do anything with the site, and I've put it on the side for years thinking, hey, I can come back to it if I ever want to. But the fact is at this point, I'm probably not going to touch it again. I'm just going to move on. So if you could buy a site that someone's neglected, and I see this in certain niches where people started as a hobby, maybe they do the right stuff because they took a course and they networked within their niche, they did guest posts, they have friends in the industry, and they get a little traffic. All you have to do is like buy the blog, which is probably not making any money. And then you could add content that's actually targeted and trying to earn for you. And then it's like, it's amazing. I've seen those pop. All right. And speaking of which, so Google is going crazy with blocking accounts due to suspicious traffic. Any thoughts on that? Blocking accounts, what kind of accounts, since there are so many accounts associated with Google, YouTube? Is this Webmaster Tools or something? Yeah, what is the context here? All right. Mediocre says, I find it hard finding KGR compliant keywords. I've gone through 400 long tail keywords in KWFinder and 2 KGR. Should I still dig, or some niches don't have them? I think you should still dig. I honestly haven't seen a niche that doesn't have them at all. So I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible, but usually you can find something. Tim, what's happening? Good to have you on here. And some people are saying, hey, keep at it, mediocre. I think you can find more. DNA Entertainment says, I find hundreds and hundreds of KGR keywords on a single keyword. So Money Music says, I'm a music producer and I upload MP3s on my sites. What's the smartest way to unload MP3 for a faster site? I have no idea. I've never done that before. Do you mean for downloading? I suspect you upload MP3s on your sites. I think you mean how do you deliver them? I'm going to guess a fast and cheap way to do it without any information is Amazon Web Services, AWS, and then it's super cheap to host data there and people could just download it directly. It's like ridiculously cheap. So, all right, Tim says this. I'm building an Amazon affiliate site right now. The site is brand new and it's your first site with Amazon. Congratulations. When should I put it on the Amazon link so I don't get rejected by the program? So couple things here and I'll try to hit the most important stuff. So what happens is you apply to the program and then they basically let you in automatically. You're kind of on a probationary period, right? So they let you in automatically. Once you make 3 sales within 180 days, unless they've changed this policy in the last couple weeks here, 3 separate orders, not 3 products, but 3 separate orders made by 3 different people. Once you make those 3 orders, someone will manually come and review your site. You'll need to make sure that you're not violating any of the operating agreement, which is kind of long and complicated to look over. But one of the top ways that people screw up is using images improperly, like downloading an image to their site. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to use either the SiteStripe tool or a plugin like Amalinks Pro or Lasso or AAWP, one of those plugins that uses the Amazon advertising API. So that's like one of the top things you can do that people make a mistake on. The other is listing prices. So when should you put the links to Amazon? You should do it after you apply. And I would say don't apply until you have, say, 10 or 15 articles. And I would even encourage you, Tim, to wait until you're getting a few visitors per day, maybe 10 or 15 visitors per day, especially to your content that has a product review. Most likely, if you're getting 10 to 15 visitors per day to product review post, there's a strong chance you're going to be able to make those 3 sales within a week or 2, most of the time. So I find often if you're getting, again, 10, 20 visitors a day, you're going to be able to make enough sales like through a few weeks and there's not going to be pressure. Again, you have 180 days to make those 3 sales, but at the same time, there's no need to put like extra pressure on yourself and it depends on how much time you're able to put in there. Be sure to check out some of my content on Niche Site Project to get information about the rules on the operating agreement. You can read the operating agreement, and I encourage everyone to read the operating agreement. Let me know if you've read the operating agreement. Your eyes will go crossed, and yeah, it's kind of sucky. But there's good information in there, and again, some of the top things are improper image use and then putting prices in there. Star ratings, you can't do that either. If you have a rating on your site, I would not make it stars and I would make it something different than out of 5. So do it out of 10 or out of 100 or 17, whatever you want to do. Just don't do something out of 5 stars. Some people will, some of the people that audit your site from Amazon will think, hey, that's a violation. So, all right. Good question, Tim. Oh, people are giving me compliments here. Great presentation. Love your lives. Yeah, thanks everybody. I'm trying to do better here. All right. With Ezoic, have I noticed on some of your websites bad news when it comes to bounce rate and time on page indicators? Does bounce rate go up and da-da-da-da-da? So you'll probably be able to find examples of good and bad things with not just, we'll instead of saying Ezoic, we'll say display ads in general. Basically, when you put other things on your website, it slows it down. And I encourage people to go to nichesiteproject.com, not just to sign up for that email list, right? But it's going to load really fucking fast. And guess what? There's no more pop-ups. You go to some of these sites, you're like, hey, this looks like a great headline. I really want to get this information. And then there's a pop-up. It's like, all right, I got to close the pop-up. And then you're thinking, oh, I just want to move my mouse a little bit. And then another pop-up comes up there. It's like, dude, I'm not leaving the page. Just want to move my mouse around a little bit here. Chill out. So anyway, my site loads really fast right now. And the problem is with display ads, you have real-time auctions going on because there's all this crazy software out there. There's AI, machine learning, throw in some other buzzwords. And there's real-time auctions where people are trying to show ads. Depending on the industry, you're going to have like videos and other things that are really sucky, slowing things down and keeping you from getting the information you want. And I'm in a nice position where I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have people sign up to the email list that want to. I don't want to do the pop-ups. Yeah, I know it's going to hurt things here and there, but I think in the long run, I'm interacting with people that want to interact with me, and I don't have to shove a pop-up down their throat. So overall, when you put ads on your site, it sucks. People are not going to like it as much. You have to look at what you're trying to do. So hopefully, in my example with Niche Site Project, I want to have a good relationship with you. I don't want to annoy people. I still will annoy people, but I don't want to. And I don't want to force someone to sign up to the email list if they weren't, so inclined. I make it easy enough, right? I try to entice people by giving them tools, and I don't want to have all those pop-ups. But at the end of the day, if you're putting up the website and you have the purpose of publishing informational content and there's no other way to monetize it, and you're not doing it for a hobby, right? You're trying to earn some money on the side, then you could put the ads up. People are not going to like it as much, but they understand you got to pay the bills. It's not free to have a website. Charlie says, would it be worth a test with 10 to 20 articles and see what happens? Yes, I love that idea. People should test more stuff just like that. Do a small little test on a larger assumption that you have and see what happens. You might see that 5 of the articles do really well in a specific topic area, and then the other 15 are terrible. And then you could focus on the thing that's working. All right. Sarah, what's up? How can we get the consolidated earnings from our Amazon account or we get an advertising fee instead of consolidated earnings? You know what? I'm not sure. How can we get the consolidated earnings from our Amazon account or we get an advertising fee instead of consolidated earnings? You know what? I'm not 100% sure I follow. I know there have been some changes in the reporting, Sarah, so I don't know the answer to the question. That's number one. Number two, see if you can find documentation on the Amazon Associates reporting area. They also have some forums and some light support. So you might be able to ask some questions and see some forum information there. So I don't know the answer, but I would turn to Amazon for that. I typically, I typically see the consolidated earnings report. That's kind of where I spend my time, and occasionally I'll dive into the specific geographies to get more information. Jarshi, how much time will it take to build $1,000 per month website? And how many articles do I have to write to reach that? This is one of the questions that I don't really like that much. And I see some people were writing some other information back. So the thing is, the answer, it depends. How long will it take to build $1,000 per month website? If you have all the tools and resources, it could take you, a month. How many articles? Well, you can make $1,000 per month from one single article. You also can make $1,000 per month from 100 different articles. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And the questions you're asking won't help you reach your goal. So you're focusing on the wrong parts, and I encourage you to watch a couple other videos on this channel. Check out Alex Cooper over at WP Eagle. Actually, go to Alex's channel. You should follow Alex and ask him these questions. He is far nicer than me. British, really nice dude. He does live streams like twice a week, and he shows his sites that he's building. So go ask Alex all these questions. He would love to help you. Alex Cooper, tell him Doug sent you. Okay. Music Money says you're talking about uploading MP3s. It makes your site slow. Okay. So is there a way to upload the files that won't slow your site down? I don't know. Actually, yes, 100% there is a way to do it. I don't know exactly what the mechanism is. I literally do this thing. I did quotes for a second, but I literally do that with my podcast, but I'm using a podcast player. I would guess you can use some of the same technology. I use I forget. It's like the super simple podcasting plugin or something like that. It's associated with Castos. That's my podcasting host. And it's very easy to use. I think you might be able to upload it to various different servers. You don't have to use Castos, and you could just use the plugin for the free functionality. It allows you to embed the MP3 in the post, and I think that's probably a fast way to do it. You potentially could host your files on Amazon, yes, AWS S3, and it will be very inexpensive and shouldn't slow down your site because it's hosted elsewhere. So I would look at that route, but just Google it. I don't know the answer to that question. All right. Abhay says, I posted 50 articles on my site in 2 months. I'm not getting much traffic. We're also making backlinks on a regular basis. Can you tell me how much time Google will take it? Something. It depends. And I don't know the answer to that question. 2 months is very young. I would potentially either keep publishing more articles or promote your site. One thing to give you more helpful information, I know some folks have asked about getting traffic from social media, especially when your site's young before it is ranking on Google, and if that's a good route. Yeah, it's a good route. So maybe check out Pinterest. That's a good way to get traffic before you're ranking on Google. Depending on how the backlinks are showing up and the quality of them, that may be a good or bad thing. I have a newer site that I started a few months ago, and I'm getting a little bit of traffic, but not as much as I expected. And I think it might just be a more competitive niche where the sandbox is literally longer because it's more competitive. So I'm not sure. I think sometimes you could find examples where it takes a very long time up to a year. Georgie's going nuts out there. Can you guys hear her barking? She's like flipping out. I think somebody like closed the car door. So, all right. Yeah, so the point is, I don't know. And you can keep doing what you're doing, and that's probably a good move. The other thing is I often see people who publish really shitty content. And I don't know if your content all right. Oh, hold on a second here. I have to jump in, and how do I just kick someone out? Boom. You're banned from the channel, Rar Joshi. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Sorry, folks, for all the spam in the chat and rude people. So getting back to it here. Keep publishing. Make sure your content's good. Make sure the grammar is tight. Make sure your backlinks are good. And that is a good thing to do. Fred, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. It's all right if you're late. That happens. All right. A lot of questions. I got a little behind here. All right. CJ says, how different would you say the approach to Amazon sites if it's more B2B? Great question. Great question. I think you can follow the same ideas for the most part. I also think if you have the specific customer in mind, you can write in a way that targets them. I'm not sure if you were here earlier, CJ, at the very beginning when I was talking about AmaLinks Pro and the post that they wrote. It's long, it's very thorough, it goes into great detail. And when they sent me the email to let me know about it, I wanted the executive summary. So if you know that about a person, and anyone who emails me here, if you have a long story to tell, you probably realize it'll be really good to put a summary in one sentence. And I literally have done that. And when I personally worked with executives or busy people, I sometimes would have a long thing to state that was all very important, but sometimes it's really good to put it in a short sentence. It's called an executive summary. So if you know your target business and the people that have that role to make those purchases, you can write it in that way. I think if you follow the perfect Amazon review format, Tim, I think you have a question related to that, writing the perfect blog post or to win the snippet every time. So those are two different things, but essentially if you follow the format, it's over at nichesiteproject.com/Amazon-affiliate. You'll see there's a format, and I went and scoured a bunch of different best-in-class product review websites and then put together the template. And that is why I don't, if you do most of that stuff right most of the time, you're going to be fine. Sure, you can optimize. You can optimize until forever, right? You can continue to optimize forever. But essentially, if you follow that template, it'll do pretty good most of the time. As far as winning the snippet, I haven't gone down the rabbit hole to try to win the snippet. I think they shift around quite a bit. I have won snippets in just inherently through the content that I've written, but I haven't gone I know there's some techniques that you can do where it's more optimized around getting the snippet. But from what I see, I think that's information everyone can get. So it's probably kind of a revolving door. And Zolkwernon says, do we need to promote our fairly new affiliate site on Facebook or Pinterest? Only if you want to. I don't like either Facebook or Pinterest personally, so I don't spend time on stuff that I don't want to do. All right. Oh, and Slow Bo Dan says, I have some Amazon earnings, but not that much. I really don't want to chase the few users off with ads and Cool. Yeah, good job. Keep pushing. Tim says, do I use voice to text software because my fingers are hurting from typing? I don't on a regular basis, but I have in the past. Just tiny bits, and I found that I make more mistakes and I talk terribly. I make more mistakes and editing takes longer, and I actually type really, really slowly for the most part. Usually my brain is slower than my fingers anyway, so it's not a huge deal for me, but rest your fingers. You don't want to get carpal tunnel or anything like that. And a lot of people may not know. I haven't talked about this in a while. Oh man, how long ago was it? It was probably circa 2014. I still lived in Georgia. I changed from the normal QWERTY keyboard, where the keys are like that, like we all know, to Dvorak. I think it's actually Dvorak for the people out there. But it's already pretentious enough to say I type in an alternative keyboard, but I did. Who remembers this? Because I talked about it a pretty long time ago. So I changed over to this alternative keyboard, and basically the keys that you use most often, the most common letters, are in your home position, so you don't move your finger as much. The downside is it took me like 6 months to type at a normal speed again. So, and I wasn't a fast typer before, and I think I was probably at like 45 words per minute, and then maybe I got up to like 50 words per minute when I was typing a lot more in Dvorak. But I've slowed down. I don't type as much, which is a good thing. And I probably, as I'm looking at the projects that I'm working on, I'll have to do some typing, and I like to write some, but I don't like sitting the keyboard and just typing all the time. I like being outside and walking outside and doing stuff, not at the laptop here. So me typing faster would probably get me away from the keyboard more, but I'm just trying not to do as much stuff in front of the keyboard. So, all right. Charlie says, last question. If I'm doing 10 to 20 articles, should they be in different areas, cars, style, food, etc., or do them all in the same category? So I would probably do them all in the same category so you could build relevancy in that category. The converse, so that's what I would do. I would focus on one and do it and see, pick your favorite one, whatever seems most viable. The converse of that is you could publish 10 to 20 articles in various different topic areas completely, and then see which one worked and then do more of that one. The downside to that is if you're doing, let's say there's 4 different topic areas and you're going to do, let's say 12 articles total, you're only going to have 3 tests in each one of those different topic areas. That's not really very, very much to test on. 3 articles, that's almost nothing. So I would focus on the one so you actually get some data back, see if anything hits, and then go from there. It's not going to be like a pure test. You would not have been able to test everything in that case. Anikit says, which tools to consider when doing keyword research and how to do it in a proper way if we're a newbie. So I'm an affiliate for KWFinder. There's a link in the description and a 10% off code that you can use. If you're brand new, you may be tempted to use Ubersuggest, but you can go to one of my recent videos. It's like from a couple weeks ago. It was free keyword research tool, Ubersuggest. And basically, Ubersuggest ties your fucking hands behind your back and you get limited functionality. So it's a free tool for like 5 minutes. Actually, you can go over there now. And before we finish this live stream, I'm sure Neil doesn't watch this, but if he does, he can let me know in the chat. But basically, there's like pop-ups that are like, hey, sign up for this. There's a webinar starting in 15 minutes or some kind of shit like that. And then you only get like part of the data, and then you only get X number of searches per day. And the fact is, you know what? If you like Ubersuggest, just pay for it. Get all the functionality. So whether you use Ubersuggest or KWFinder, Ahrefs, SEMrush, whatever, pay for it. Pay for whatever tool you're using for 1 to 2 months. If you use any of the free versions, it's just limited data. One of the cheapest options in a tool that I use basically every day is Keywords Everywhere. It's a Chrome extension. It is very inexpensive. And if you're on a budget, then I would probably aim for that one. And then keyword research in a proper way. Check out that video. There's more details on that. All right. And I finally got to the part where Rajarshi asked the same question like 4 times that I already answered. Okay. But I kicked him out. So if you're just here now, you already know that. Oh, thanks. And Charlie says, no BS, straight up. Cool, straight shooter. Nice. Thanks. You should also check out my buddy Matt Giovanisi over at Money Lab. He is also a straight shooter. And it turns out, as I'm watching some of his live streams, we basically disagree on tons of fundamentals for our sites. But we both do well. Oh, Elizel says, I use KGR in Kenya and got some donations on my charity website. That's pretty cool. ArtKid says you will earn up to 8% commission on referred merchandise net sales. Should I consider gross sales, product plus shipping? And it looks like an incomplete sentence. Well, gross sales, net sales, my assumption, ArtKid, for most things, whatever the lesser amount is, that's what you're going to get. So however you figure it, wherever you see that, you can, if you see this on Amazon, it is not including shipping, by the way. It's just on the sales. But if you see it elsewhere, like if you're working with another affiliate program or something, just ask your affiliate manager or your contact there. So, oh yeah, we got Charlie from Passive Priority. He's been on the channel a couple times, and in fact, he's documenting his case study. Have I shown everyone all the case studies and things that we're doing on Niche Site Project? So, oh, and Tim says that he uses Ubersuggest, the paid version, because it's the cheapest. Okay, cool. All right, so Charlie's documenting over on Niche Site Project, and I actually have a couple other folks doing it as well. But let me show you some of the case studies that I have going on, because people love case studies apparently. So let me hop over here. I'm going to go to Niche Site Project. I'm going to go to the blog, Chrome, boom. Okay. So a couple things. Number one, we have the site growth case study, which I just published a post on yesterday. Not a post, a video on yesterday. So this is a site that I've neglected for a lot of 2020. I actually bought it at the end of 2019, and I know a couple things. So I was able to grow the traffic by about 40% and the revenue by 60%. So I took it from around $1,600 in 2019 before I bought it to $2,600 in 2020. If the commission rate didn't change, it probably would have been a lot more than that, potentially around, honestly, about $5,000. So that's one case study. The other one is from the celebrity in the audience, and that is Charlie, and he is documenting his news site. So he has two sites. One of them, he published 500 articles in 8 months. So you can read about that here. And then he is publishing a ton on his news site, and he's documenting that on his YouTube channel. And he is 10 subs away from 500. So people can go over and subscribe. We could probably get you to 500 pretty quick here, man. There should be 10 people that'll throw you a bone there. And finally, we have a 2x income accelerator case study. And this is Christy, who I have featured on the channel a few times. Used to be a neighbor up in Bozeman. And she has been making, let's see, 2,000 to 4,000 every month. You can see she is very good in Excel and PowerPoint. And she put together graphics that look pretty cool. Great color scheme here. Nothing to complain about here. And basically, she's earning about half her money from Amazon and then the other half from Mediavine, which is kind of cool. So I'm taking her down a different kind of route. It's interesting because normally people would say, hey, just publish more content. You want to 2x your income, publish more and more content, and then, build some links. That's what I usually say. But I also know her niche is kind of weird and obscure, and she's doing a good job with branding. So I thought, hey, I bet she can earn more by developing her own products and having more of a brand. So we're going that route for Christy. She's documenting it all here. And I have another person that will be writing as well. I haven't got his post out yet, but Charlie's doing one, Christy's doing one, I'm doing one as well. And then I'll have another guest doing it because people love these case studies. And I somehow found myself in a position where there were people doing interesting stuff that can document their whole story on my blog. So I decided to be lazy and get some people to help me out. So it's pretty cool. And I know we have a couple more questions, and then I got to get out of here. In fact, let me run another clip here. Let me see if I have another clip to play. I think I do. I think I got a bunch more. All right. We'll get rid of this little graphic here. I've got a few more videos. Oh, I talked about Alex Cooper, and actually he was talking about being patient in the Google Sandbox. So this is from a few, I think about a month-ish back, something like that. I can't quite remember. But Alex is talking about patience in the Google Sandbox. So that person that I kicked out earlier, this is the guy you should go follow and ask him questions. He's a great guy. All right, we have Koo says, when does the Google Sandbox end with a new site? So a lot of people will say 6 to 12 months, roughly in that time frame. I actually have a video on that topic where I ask a couple people, so check it out. Alex, what's your experience with the Sandbox?
Yeah, it takes about, just on my sites, it seems to take that long for the traffic to start coming. I know this is like one of the biggest debates in our industry, and I see that Carl's just joined us in the chat, and I think Phil was in earlier. I know those two argue till the cows come home about this. I'm not sure which side each one. I think Phil doesn't believe in the Sandbox and Carl does. So I don't know, because you do hear that some new sites, they get traffic after a month or two. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you build enough authority links, that might help. But then if you do that too quickly, then that could look suspicious. I don't know. Generally, patience is the key in this game. On the YouTube game, on the affiliate marketing game, it's just patience. Things don't happen as quickly as you'd like or as you'd think, and you just have to be patient, keep working away, even if you don't see results instantly, and then just one day things start to move.
One key thing with all these questions is the definition of words. So when we say Google Sandbox, some people may interpret it as getting zero traffic and it's impossible to rank on Google, which is not true. You can rank in days if you go after some smaller, low competition keywords. So like I said, it's the definition of words and how you view it. So usually, right, the people that believe in the sandbox know that you can get some traffic if you go after low competition keywords, but they'll just see the growth increase a lot after 6 and or 12 months. So, and it turns out as long as you just get past that period, then it doesn't matter anymore. Like once you're past that point, then who cares if there's a sandbox?
Yeah. And to be fair, if you're building up a site from scratch, it can take 6 months to actually build up a decent pool of content on your site and actually have a site that looks like it's established and finished. Because, you know, if you've only got 20 or 30 articles on your site, then you're not probably adding a lot of value, and Google maybe doesn't want to show those kind of sites. So it takes 6 months to add a decent amount of content and to tweak your design and get your layout right and your structure and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it just takes time to get to that point. But as you say, once you've done that and you have got some good content and you are a bit established, then it's just up and up and up, hopefully.
Yeah, you could just publish stuff. So I almost forgot, Alex, I wanted to ask you about this hosting service that you put together. Is that all right? And I cut the clip early there since it was out of context. So that was the Sandbox talk. That was the Sandbox talk. And we got a couple more questions here. It looks like the sun's shining out there now. So I need to get out of here, finish up. So we do have a few more questions. I appreciate everybody coming on for the live stream. They've been a lot more lively in the last few weeks, and I appreciate everybody coming on. I want to have more and more folks on. I am jealous of Alex and the live streams that he does, and maybe it is just the fact that he's nicer. Because he's just a nice dude, and he sounds smarter. He probably is smarter, but he definitely sounds smarter. So Art Kid mentions the question around the 8% is on the Petco affiliate program. So I'm guessing net sales is I'm guessing it's just the product, and they probably subtract any returns and that sort of thing. Tim says, do I have any special tactic to find good topics in a niche or untapped long tails? So I'll give you a couple off the top of my head. This is not a comprehensive list by any means. So number one, I would say if you're a member of that niche and you can go and, well, if you're a member of the niche and you're interested in the topic, you could just think about the obscure things that you know about and go there. But that's really not like untapped necessarily if you already know it. You can go to forums where you will often find tons and tons of questions, which is good. A lot of people will recommend Answer the Public, and you can get a bunch of questions there, but that is probably one that you've heard of already. One of the classic ways is to go to bigger sites, and then you can use a tool like, I don't know if Uber Suggest does it, but you could use like SEMrush or KWFinder or Ahrefs and find the keywords that a site is ranking for, and then look at the long tail keywords. So you can filter based on the number of searches. So if you find a low number of searches and a high number of words, say 4 or more words, usually you'll end up just with long tails. Protus says, I think you probably meant Doug, but we'll just move on. Doe is Dorm Essentials, a good niche to do for affiliate marketing. Doe, Dorm Essentials. Dorm Essentials. Okay. So this is a good example. Commas, people. Use commas. Doug, is Dorm Essentials a good niche for affiliate marketing? The answer is there's a lot of products in Dorm Essentials. Do some keyword research, do competition analysis, and then you let me know. My hunch is, sure, you could probably make that work. It's probably very seasonal. And use commas, man. Use commas. All right. Doug, how do you, this is from Aaron. What's up, Aaron? How do you approach editing articles that aren't ranking well? On my 8-month-old site, half of the articles are indexed but not ranking yet. even in the top 100. Aaron, I've seen this more recently, and on a new site that I'm kind of testing some stuff on, I'm observing this too. They're actually like not indexed, and I'm like, there's plenty of content on this site I've been publishing for a while. The quality is pretty solid. So I've seen this too. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. It could be the niche. So Aaron, shoot me an email if you want. You don't have to, but if you wanted to take it offline and let me know some more details, it could be interesting. There could be some niches out there that have longer sandbox period where they really throttle it down. And I think I accidentally got in one of those, or I'm not sure. So you could be in the same spot. As far as editing articles that aren't ranking well, I would highly recommend using a tool like MarketMuse or Page Optimizer Pro. I'm an affiliate for either one of those. I know a lot of people like the other tools that are out there. Those are two awesome ones. And MarketMuse is, I think, best in class. And the new pricing that they have rolled out for people in our position is something we could afford. In the past, because I got a demo probably in 2015, 2016 from MarketMuse, and it was like $1,200 a month. And I was like, I mean, I'm just one dude over here. That's mortgage payment, you know? Next, we have Zolkornon says, I have one site with 15 articles. It's KGR. I'm thinking to start another one on a different niche using Google search just to make a comparison. Do you think it's a good idea? It depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to test things and see how things work, then it's a good idea. It's a great idea. If your goal is to earn money and grow that first site, then it's a bad idea. So think about what's important to you and what you like working on and what your goal is. So if you're working on another site to just test and see how things work, then you're wasting your time if you're trying to earn money on that first site. CJ says, how would you go about recommending books? I know it's not that much of a moneymaker for most niches, but I figured it would add greatly to the site. Don't know. I guess I don't know because I haven't done book review styles or recommended books specifically, but I would probably do competition analysis and see what other sites are doing. Chances are they're doing some sort of a book review or a book roundup, maybe like a list post, like the top 10 books for entrepreneurs that are trying to get started online. And then you could have the 4-Hour Work Week, E-Myth, blah, blah, blah. You could put a bunch of books like that. So I have a hunch top 10 lists could be good because when people are looking for gifts to buy us, they may Google it and then end up on some site that has a listicle type article. And shout out again to Passive Priority. Feel free to give him a push over there. He's near 500 subscribers. Payush says, for an informational article, will I only go KGR or LMS between 2,500 to 20 or 750 to 2,500? Either way is fine. For informational, either way is fine. Tim is asking to build a site from scratch and document on video. It would be good to watch the tactics. So I do get asked this probably once a month or so. Actually, probably a little more than that. Once a month, probably in this kind of forum. And I'm always torn because I typically try to make some money from my sites. And if I do a public case study, I don't benefit from it as much. And I try to be helpful. I do try to be helpful. There's a lot of free information out here, but some other folks earn from tools that they created, for example. And I earn from a course that I teach where if I just showed you all the stuff for free, then there's less value in it. Now, of course, in my course, Multi-Profit Site and some of the others, it's consolidated information that you can go through in the right order, where if you get it in a YouTube video, it's not quite as valuable. But the fact is, there are different ways to, make money and do these channels and have the podcast and the blog and all the other stuff. And I haven't gone the route of documenting the site. I know Niche Pursuits, like Spencer, he has software that he sells and a bunch of affiliate products and a much bigger brand overall. He's been around for quite a long time. Alex, again, WP Eagle, he's selling a lot of related products to support a site. I could go that route, but you probably gathered by the way that I talk about the companies that I'm working with is I'm not kissing everyone's ass. I will be pretty honest about the products. And when you start going down that route, it obviously the sponsors and stuff that work with me understand that I'm just going to talk about my opinions, but at the same time, it does potentially create some conflict. So, Tim, it's always on my list, and I do have an idea. Amazingly enough, I have it in my little notebook here where I have an idea where I may be able to do the preliminary pieces of it in a more organized format, not a free-for-all live stream like this, but a little tighter. It would still be free, and I think it could work. I need to finish some of my infrastructure and tool migration and changing my tech stack. I think I can come up with something that will work. Hopefully it'll work how I think it will, but we'll see how it goes. So thanks, Tim. That is a good question. Wow, there's so many questions today. This is great. All right, we'll finish up. We're pushing almost 2 hours here. All right, Gumball says, I've been building my site for 2 months now. Even if I do everything right and answer those underserved topics, is it still possible to never get anything out of it after the appropriate amount of time? Has something like that ever happened to me? Anything is possible. So yes, it is possible that you might not get traffic. However, all the words are very important in the question. Even if I do everything right, if you do everything right, then you should get some traffic. Sometimes, so earlier someone asked the question, hey, I did this, it's been a couple months, I'm not getting much traffic. What should I do? There's some things you could double check. You got to make sure the grammar is good. You should probably have someone that's more experienced than you. Have a look at the keywords and your general approach. You might be making a tiny little mistake that is impacting everything that you're doing. It is possible for things not to work out. But usually if you get started taking action and you're trying to improve and you're analyzing the work that you've done so that you can optimize it, fix problems, typically people always figure out what to do. And you can go back in my history and look at my sites and some of the stuff I've documented where things were awesome, then I got penalized, and then it was awesome, and then penalized. You can go and check other people that I've mentioned today too. Things happen, and usually you can recover if you keep pushing through. Anthony says, do I have a nice way to monitor Amazon URLs? The sites are growing and you're worried about dead links. Yeah, there's a few options. So I use Genius Link, which allows you to geo-target, and it also tracks dead links like that. There's a report in there that you can get to. A lot of the affiliate linking plugins will give you some sort of tracking as well. And I think there's a tool called Site Buddy that has some capability like that as well. 90% sure. Genius Link is kind of a good all-in-one tool. Elizul I have an interior design website that has an affiliate program. How do I get good affiliates using the KGR method? For attracting affiliates, so you are selling the product and you want affiliates, I would not use the KGR for that. I would find people that you want to be affiliates and then you go find them. If people potentially are not searching for that, so the only thing you could do is maybe create a page that has affiliate program and then get out there. Mediocre says, I'm spending a lot of time branding my niche site. I've already found several ranking competitors in my niche, but their sites are almost identical. Same overused layout. Am I wasting my efforts? Yeah, I think so. I don't really put much time into that. Ah, shit. Look at Niche Site Project. There's no branding. Mohammed says, any tip for fast indexing? Yeah, you can go force index it on the Search Console, Google Search Console. All right, see you, Tim. I think probably you already left. Oh, shit. And my voice is giving out. So here's the last one. CJ says, what do you mean by geo-targeting? There are international Amazon associate programs. So it targets by the geography. Genius Link and other tools will send traffic from, say, the UK to the Amazon UK version. And that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you're watching the replay and you're hanging on all the way till the end, I appreciate it. Leave a comment, say hello. And if you are not subscribed to the email list, please do subscribe. nicheproject.com. Click the green button. You can sign up there. Shout out to the sponsors and all that stuff. There's links in the description. I'm not going to say everything again. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.